This is another episode of our Horror Junkies podcast. I'm your host, Quan. We got Edge on the scene right there. Pretty much we might have some extra content that we will post at the end, I guess like our beginning, because I probably might cut it right here. That will be like extra content. Because that was a nice little tangent we had before, you know, while I had it
You know
recorded.
me, I always
But no,
go
no.
off the cuff.
Yeah, no. But I'll just leave that permission, leave that at the end. So if y'all interested in what we were talking about before, we 100% decided to get back on the podcast. That'd be pretty much what we'll be going for. But yep, this is our podcast. This is episode 8,
Hey, I'm ready.
9. Relocation's back. Relocation is in. We're recording back to pretty much another stop. So everyone, sorry for the relocation. Had to do something. But with that being said,
He had to
back
let
on
out
the
Cujo.
huh? And
You
without
had to let
Cujo?
out Cujo.
Yep,
Yeah,
we
you
had
had
to
to
let.
let out
I had to
Cujo.
let out Cujo, or in this case Lola. But yes, I had to let out Cujo. I had to let out Cujo. Had to let out Cujo and relocate. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But anyway, this topic will be a little bit. I don't want to say. I don't want to say I was looking forward to this topic, but I kind of am just because like I've always been a spring and summer guy, and everyone. The topic we're going to be talking about is pretty much horror movies that were that pretty much have a spring theme or summer theme or start in the spring or summer. And there is a lot of movies. Now, Edge, why should anyone want to watch a horror movie during the spring or summertime? Why should somebody do that?
It's the time to do it. I mean, everybody's, that's the time everybody gets. First of all, it's spring break for school. So everybody's out. Then you got summer. Everybody again's out of school. It's just an opportunity to spend more time doing it. Plus, to me, it seems to relate more with everybody. I guess unless we live in the South, we live in Georgia now.
Yeah,
Granted, it's not warm all the time here, unlike like today. It's not warm today, but for the most part, we're warm here, and it kind of just it's easily more relatable than the snow movies and cold movies. So
indeed.
that's what I would think. And anytime
And,
you can relate to a movie, that definitely makes it better for you. So,
mhm. I agree. I agree with that. And then that's basically what I was gonna. That's basically what I pretty much concur with that as well. Like guys, if guys and gals, because some ladies might be watching this podcast one day and want to find ways to jump into horror. But the main reason why I suggest pretty much have like some kind of theme horror or some kind of seasonal horror is because it kind of sets the mood for like whatever season you're in. Like for me and Edge, we live in the South, so pretty much when I chose spring and summer horror movies, it's like something that they kind of link into each other. In fact, most of the time, if you live in the South, your spring is almost no different than a summer. It's just that during the summer there's less rain. That's all I could say. And even then, that depends on what part of the South you live in, because but spring, summer, always hot, and especially high humidity. But there's a lot of horror movies that kind of depict about if that would happen out here or what it would happen, in a certain spring or summer kind of scenario. So how's this gonna go? Is I pretty much got my list of favorites. Most likely you're probably gonna hit on them. But I was also gonna go back and forth between like what would be one horror movie, pretty much back and forth of like a horror movie that you think people should watch, and why should they watch it. For example, I will start with, I'm in that field. I don't know why. I did have like a hat earlier, if anyone's seen my Instagram and stuff. But first one, this is gonna be classified as a spring movie, quotation mark spring movie. Jeepers Creepers, both 1 and 2. Because the Creeper comes out every 23 years in the spring. So he's pretty much a spring guy, horribly enough. But he comes out, does some crazy stuff, kills people, all that stuff. And I like that, not only because like it's a very it's a very unique horror film in a way because in the beginning when you see it, you don't think it would go in the direction it does, but it crazily does, and it's like, huh, like you, like probably if people was to watch the first 10 minutes of that movie and then you stop it right there and you go, "What do you think so far?" They'll probably think like, "Oh, it's a serial killer that got found out,
Exactly.
and now he's stalking people." And it's like, ah, so you got the first half, and it's like it intensifies afterwards. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it is a very good thing. It also goes off for me, I guess, in a real quotation mark real life scenario of like, you're traveling across state for something and then some psycho happens to kind of follow you and does crazy stuff. I mean, that could happen, especially, with spring and summer. Most people want to do that quick road trip during either spring break or definitely during summer break when there's time to go see the sights and stuff. So, Jeepers Creepers up there for me. Like it goes. I want to say for how it feels, it goes both for spring and summer. But from the mythos of the creeper, it's definitely a spring horror movie. Definitely a spring horror movie.
I like the fact you stopped at 1 and 2 because I think there's 3 and 4, and neither one of those are very good at
No,
all.
no,
But yes, it's a
like
very
yeah,
fascinating.
like pretty much with the last episode with the worst horror movies. Yeah, Jeepers Creepers 3 and 4 would definitely be on that list because I had the hope of watching 3, and that didn't go in my favor. That didn't go in my favor. And I am dare not gonna watch 4. Like I think
Waste of
that
time.
yeah, I think from my mom's side that I got my horror from, even she said she saw the trailer and was just like, "Yeah, that doesn't look good. I'm not gonna look at it." So yeah. When your mom, who's a horror fan, says that a trailer doesn't look good, I'm not gonna look at it, then you already know it's probably not a good fit anyway.
That is correct. It's definitely gotta follow what mom says.
Oh, yeah. Alright, so I got one from on my side. What's one of yours?
Except in that horror movie called Mom, but that's for another character story. As you
Yeah,
mentioned, you talk about horror movies, that's in the summer, you talk about road trips, you talk about getting off on the side path or somebody following you. I mean, of course, I think the only problem I have with this category that you brought up is I was like, gosh, I want to be mentioning a lot of the same episodes, a lot of the same movies you already mentioned, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre has to be at the top of that list. I mean, it's
Yep.
like the ultimate. I'm going on a trip. I'm going out of town. I'm going, and I'm going to take a side road, and and then next thing you know, you end up at somebody's crazy people's house, and
Mhm.
oh my god, it was crazy movie. All of them,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
all of the Texas Chainsaw
All
Massacres are
all
crazy.
Texas Chainsaw Massacres definitely fit that bill. Like, yeah, they do. And,
But
yeah, and
but
I
that's
as I
all
and
stuff.
and as I look at, I guess, slightly my list in a way, I do see, like, I the main theme yeah, the main theme that kinda hits for like spring and summertime horror, or almost like any kind of horror in general when you really dig down into it, is the sum up is basically people are going into a place that most likely they should not have gone into. Whether it was because you should have researched it, you should have had a better plan,
Mhm.
you should have, went with people who lived around the area and went by their advice. Like, I mean, yeah, kind of not only adding a movie from that, but also going from that last part right there. There's literally a scene in like the first Friday the 13th. I want to say it's one of the Friday the 13th where like the people bump into a random guy and the guys warn them, hey, don't go over there, don't do this, and the people still do it. And you know
Yeah.
what? Lo and behold, they get got. So I'm just saying, I want to say that is an interesting trope, not only for like spring and summer horror, but I want to say almost most of the horror genre in general is like people gonna go in places that they possibly should not have gone or they probably should have researched, which is gonna hit a good bit of my list. So with that being said, I'll make sure to hit the most interesting ones. So I already labeled Friday the 13th because Friday the 13th is a summer one, especially from up to
Well, of course.
yeah.
All the camp movies, any camp movie, any movie that you go into camp, summer camps, of course. And
Mhm.
I was trying to think when I saw this list, is there any winter camp movies? I'll have to look that one up before we do our winter series. But yeah, any summer camp movies, Sleepaway Camp. There's a bunch we can list, but
Yep.
obviously Friday the 13th is at the top. And of course, I mentioned in the very first video,
Yep.
the burning. The burning was set at a camp, where a guy got burned accidentally by a couple by camp goers that decided they wanted to have some fun with a guy. And so all those kind of things being at a camp is
Hmm.
always a scary thought because you're out of your element, so to
Yep.
speak.
Yep. And even like the I think one of the biggest and most unique uh camp aka cabin movies, which still to this day is like just the direction that it took, set the bar for like I guess a lot of modern horror, which is Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods,
I
very good.
mean, the fact that it not only took it in one direction, and then that one direction went in like three s- three different but same directions, but it all hit it like on the same movie. I'm just like, that's I want to say Cabin in the Woods definitely has like an award for for one of the most unique stories because just to couple all that into like one movie and it works is still I want to say an awesome thing to think about. Like, yeah, just pretty much, yeah, for people Cabin in the Woods is like pretty much the four people on like, that holiday, spring break, summer break, taking a break, going to, this cabin in the woods, and they come across some things. But as they come across, as you see that they see these things, you also start to notice other things in the movie that makes you go, wait, is that happening? Is that planned? Is that what's going on? And it's a whole interesting spiral of a movie that's like any horror fan that wants to see something unique and out of the ordinary, but it looks like the similar movie that you see. Cabin in the Woods, I think, is very good on that. Cabin in the Woods,
Right, exactly.
which is classified as once again close to spring and close to summer movie. Although I thought for sure, I thought it was like a fall movie for sure, but like there's certain tenets of it and certain stories that could fit for summer for sure. So yeah, all right, you're go.
Well, last video, we were talking about, the bad movies, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer ended up on it.
Hmm.
But I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original, was obviously a summer movie. And one thing about that movie was kinda different, so to speak, is the teenagers didn't really end up anywhere they weren't supposed to end up. They were just partying and drinking, and they go out and they actually hit somebody and killed them, and they decide to do the wrong thing and throw this person in the lake, or ocean, wherever they threw him. Lake, I
Hmm.
think it was. Anyways, yeah, threw him in the lake, and yeah, that's what started, that series of horror movies as far as summer. That was obviously one of the top, grossing one of the top grossing summer horror movies of all time too. So
What?
yep, look it up. It's good stuff.
I gotta look that up. I gotta look that up. But no, no, it's definitely high up there. I mean,
Yep.
that's definitely a thing. And the fact of it is that I won't say the only reason why for me, because like the only reason why I guess Scream probably wouldn't take that from I Know What You Did Last Summer is because I Know What You Did Last Summer is placed during the summertime. Scream definitely has like a fall type feel. Like
It does have a fall feel to
you
it.
can
It
tell by
does.
the colors. People start wearing like that mixture of clothing where it's like a sweater up top but shorts at the bottom because college kids, that kind of thing. It's
Right, exactly.
so yeah, it's I can definitely see. Yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer is still pretty good. I like that, and in that definitely a summer movie. All right, next up that I have because yeah, you hit that one. I have yep one of my favorites, which is not near anything usually normal, but it's definitely a summer movie. I call it, or I think it'd be a summer movie. Deep Rising, about the mercenaries, going to take on a boat, and there's nobody on the boat because there's sea
It's
monsters. And yeah,
Sea Monster, right.
definitely a summer movie because you can tell by the theme it's summery. You're out on that, this exotic cruise in the ocean. It screams summer almost. Like literally screams summer. It's right there.
There's that. There's that for sure.
But yeah, Deep Rising is pretty much one of my favorite classics from my childhood up to now. It's still on my list, especially for like this list in particular of like horror movies for spring or summer. Is definitely a summer horror movie for me. So yeah, that's and a unique creature flick because
Definitely unique.
they
Yes, definitely.
yeah, because they still, I mean, they come up with a lot of creative like ocean creatures, but they still haven't come up with one that was like that one. That's still a unique combination of things. I do like how they did
Yeah.
that.
One of the episodes, obviously, so I don't want to rehash, but obviously, Jaws is a summertime flick. You gotta see Jaws if you're gonna watch horror movies. You gotta see Jaws.
Yep.
See the original. Don't see any make. I don't think there's been any remakes, but don't just see the original. And there's so many other quote unquote shark movies out there that you can run into where people get trapped on a boat or trapped out in the water, and
Hmm.
but nothing overtakes Jaws. He's the big, the great
Well,
white there at the beginning. He takes over. He does his thing. So
mhm.
I like the other shark movies. I really do. All the ones where people get
Oh yeah,
trapped on a
no, no,
boat,
no.
get
I mean,
trapped
we
in a
can
ramp.
definitely we can even like just squash that right here for pretty much this one. A light segue. If you're interested in like having like an ocean creature feature, ocean creature feature for like horror flicks, you gotta start with Jaws. You gotta start with Jaws.
No
Then,
doubt.
if you still like, the shark feel, there's so many interpretations of horror movie sharks. Like, I mean, you got open waters. That seems pretty gritty. You have the horror suspense funny movie that pops in my head. Pretty much Deep Blue Sea. That's
Yep, I've
that
seen
has
it
a
too.
horror element to it, just because the scientists make pretty much Deep Blue Sea. It's pretty much a fun movie indeed, but like the horror suspense of it is just like what if sharks were smart? That's basically the premise, y'all. Like that's what if sharks could maneuver and plan things almost as good as humans did? How scary would that be? Think about that. But see the first one because I know there's like maybe a sequel.
There was. The sequel wasn't very it was okay, it wasn't great by
Yeah,
any means.
like yeah, always see the first one. Yeah, when in doubt, especially in horror, see the first one first, and then that way you'll have an idea of what it should be, what it should be. But yeah, so pretty much Jaws, open water, deep blue sea. Trying to think if there's another one because for some reason in my head another one pop. It's not a shark one, but
Well,
it's pretty much
there's
like
quite a few of them. There's quite a
yeah.
few. I don't think of the names of 'em right now. Just look up, sharks and shark horror movies, and there's, like, hundreds of them, and
Hmm.
they all seem to have the same premise too, where
Hmm.
you're stuck out on the boat or stuck out on the raft or
Hmm.
whatever the case may be. But some of them are better than others. You just have to figure out which one you like the best. But also you can watch Piranha. Piranha was a good horror movie. It was cheesy, but it was good.
Watch the old
Piranha.
one. Watch the
Old
old one.
movie, old movie.
Yes,
Look that
watch
one
the
up.
old one. They cheesed up besides other stuff the newer ones, but yeah, it's especially the
Piranha.
especially one of the sequels in particular was like y'all really didn't have to do that, really.
Yeah, yeah. I still do it.
Yeah, we'll keep it right there. But yeah, Piranha the old school one, because I remember that one as well. That's definitely a good one. That definitely has some spring summer to it. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned this one. Wouldn't, in a way, definitely the first wrong turn, wouldn't that one fit?
Yeah, Wrong Turn definitely fits. That was, I want to think that was more. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I think you're right. I think that was. I don't know. Let me look it up. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely. I mean, that's based on what we was talking about earlier. Going on. going on a vacation trip and again making making that decision to make
Mhm.
get down to go down the wrong road.
Yep,
Um,
and I remember, like, some of the attires in there was definitely for, like, that mixture of, like, spring or fall, because short
the
shorts and
spring, yeah, definitely the spring. Yep,
yeah, short shorts
spring
and
what I
tank
was.
tops and something that's, like, lightweight, like, that's what kinda rings in my ear when I flash back to that movie, like, yeah. Especially one scene in particular where, like, the 2 characters get killed because of, friskiness, but that's all I'm gonna leave it to right there is
Yeah, that's a common yeah
yep, that
common
is a
thing you're
common
gonna get
thread.
killed for. So be ready.
Yep.
It was originally back in what 2003 is when it first came out.
Mhm.
So very good. Had Eliza Dushku,
Yep.
Emmanuel Chirqui. So it had some really good actresses in
Oh,
it.
yeah. I liked Eliza for sure. Eliza was pretty cool. Alright, but yeah, I knocked out wrong turn for you, your turn.
Yep, and I want to mention because I've said this probably 1,000 times up to this point. My favorite movies are movies that deal with real stuff. So again, this dates back to 1999, but the movie called Son of Sam, which was the story of David Berkowitz, serial killer David Berkowitz. Very,
Mhm.
very dark and gloomy. In the summertime, this guy went on a killing spree of killing couples in cars and couples in their homes and wherever he could find couples, he was going out and killing them and women. And I don't remember what his total was, but it was pretty devastating.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, that was a definite if you wanna watch a summer movie, get that feel of this is really happening, so what would I do in this situation type thing? Yeah, you need to watch that.
I dig that, I dig that. No, indeed, and that's one of the things that I haven't, seen yet. But I guess since I'm lightly on that topic, I guess I gotta mention another movie that I think that I gotta see if you've seen, because I haven't seen it yet, but it's definitely a spring horror movie from the look of it and the trailers of it. Midsummer. Have you seen it
I
yet?
don't think I saw the picture of that, I don't think I've seen that yet. No, I don't think I have.
It's so that's pretty much one movie that me and you haven't seen yet. It's basically like, yeah, a horror movie. From what I've got from the trailer and what from other people have said, it's basically a horror movie. It's based very springy. Everyone who's interested, but very also culty. Like I hear there are similar vibes of this movie being like The Wicker Man, which can also be a spring-like movie because when he comes into the island, the old school
That's
one,
right.
but when he comes to the island, it is very springy. It is the season of fertility and all that stuff, that kind of thing. So it's
Right.
but yeah, Midsummer is basically still on my list, and it's very springy. It's a very spring horror movie that I guess we still haven't seen. So we definitely gotta that definitely might need to be something that we have to watch and react to, or at least watch, and then we come back as like, okay, have you
I
seen
agree.
it? All right, I've seen it. Let's talk about it and, s- and see what we've noticed and what we liked or disliked about that movie. So it's definitely
Right.
got to be on our watch list then for sure. 'Cause it's very big and up there. But yeah, Midsummer. If you haven't seen it, see it before us. Tell us what you think. But we're about to probably hopefully see it soon, and then we'll give our talk on it probably hopefully soon. Your go.
Right. So I know we're doing spring and summer and The Strangers actually is kind of a fall. The original Strangers is a fall movie, but the follow-up, I'm trying to get the exact name of it, though, unfortunately, I don't know it right now, but the follow-up to The Strangers, what was it called? It was a summer movie for sure. They went to a cabin out in the woods, for a cabin summer vacation, and the family got, harassed. I'm trying to find the name of it where people know. Hang on, let me get just a second. I'll pull it up because I know it's not chapter 1, I'm not sure what's it. Oh, The Strangers Pray at Night.
Yeah.
That one is, yeah, that one back from 2018
Mm, I
it
can
is, it's definitely a summer movie, so
I can
and I
see that.
loved
It
it.
definitely
I've
has
loved
something.
every Stranger so far, so I'm looking forward to Strangers chapter 1 and Strangers chapter 2, and can't
Oh
wait.
yeah. I'm curious about that too. I'm curious about how they're going to take it. Granted, I still think that chapter one, as the I guess restarting of the franchise, chapter one was definitely I did like it. I could tell it was like slow pace, but at the same time, also know it was pretty much almost a different but still rehash of like the first Strangers, which they're starting with chapter one. So it's like, okay, so chapter two should be different, and that's what I'm going to look at.
Right.
Wait on
It is.
chapter
It
two.
is different. It's different.
Oh yeah, no, no, I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on it. But yeah,
Different but the same.
yeah. I mean, I'm talking about like the version that's going to be coming out soon. Like I've already seen the Strangers and the Strangers Pray at Night, and I think those were good, especially Pray at Night.
Right.
I do
Praying
really
that
like
was
Pray at
really good.
Night. Yeah, I like Pray at Night. I like Pray at Night. All right, going with another spring movie. Um, Knock at the Cabin. Like the whole movie from
Yep.
beginning to close that from beginning to almost the end, very springy, especially with like with the little girl capturing caterpillars and butterflies. Like that
Yeah.
is
Kinda love that
definitely
part.
that is definitely like a spring horror movie. And once again, another job well done from M. Night Shyamalan. Like he did very good.
No doubt.
I always pretty much have a
Got it.
thing that he needs to stay in horror as long as he makes it like something like that or something like Trapped, which yeah, Trap would almost be like a spring movie for me if you haven't seen it. It's a good
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. It's
yeah,
on my list, but I haven't
it's
seen
good.
it.
It's good. I liked it. I liked it. Like especially from like how you see it from I guess the killer's take versus when it's time to flip the script a little bit. But yeah, it's very good. And I think I might classify that as springy because it's very they're at a
Mhm.
concert, they're having fun, but yeah, it's very nice. You can tell it's warm or slightly warm. But yeah.
Oh,
Um
is that that movie, the one at the concert? Yeah, I have seen that one. I didn't like it.
what?
I was like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't like it." I don't know. Maybe it's called I don't know. I
Okay.
saw it, I didn't like
Okay.
it.
I mean, I'll let it go.
That doesn't mean not to watch it, people, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
I'll let it go. You're good. You're good. All right. Next.
In that case, we'll put something we definitely don't like, but it's a spring movie, Spring Break Massacre. You gotta watch it. It's great. No, it's terrible. 2008, one girls go over to have a sorority sister, and it doesn't work out like they
Y-
wish. They all get slaughtered one by one at least. There's none slaughtered together or anything like that. But yeah, so that movie was terrible. But hey, it's a spring movie, so falls right
Yep.
into the category.
Yep. It is a spring movie. We got to give it that. We got to give it that. We got to give it that for real. All right. So let's see. Yeah, we got about like maybe 1 to 2 minutes. I'm gonna kind of pretty much fire off from the top right here. Of course, the two movies that I have. Well, actually, my this one might be classified as three, but only because like it's multiple. But you know, first one is more like horror action. The Predator 1 and Predator 2, because that's definitely summer vibe, especially with like the high testosterone of like the hot weather and Arnold and the other guys being manly guys wearing like might
Out
as
in the
well be
jungle.
yeah, roaming the jungle might as well be wearing tank tops pretty much. But yeah, it's a good it's definitely puts you in the summer and and also being hunted by something besides hot weather and high humidity, that kind of thing. It's
And 28 Days Later is a summer movie as well. So, I know we mentioned that one before, not today, but we mentioned it
yeah.
before. But 28 Days Later is definitely a, summer movie. And then you get to 28 years later, it covers a couple of different, seasons, but if I remember correctly,
The
but
look
yeah,
up.
28 Days Later is only summer, if I'm not badly mistaken. You
I
talking
think
about feeling
I
hot
think 20.
and warm and sweaty,
Yep.
that movie will make you do it. So,
Yeah, I think 28 days. I think 28 days later. I think definitely was a spring movie for sure. I don't know. There was like some flowers somewhere. I think it was definitely spring movie. And 28
yeah,
years later, that looks like a summer movie, but at the same time, it's also coming out in summer. So my
right.
judgment, our judgment, my judgment for sure might be biased because it's coming out this summer and it looks like a summer movie, but we don't know if it looks like a summer movie because it looks hot in the movie, or we don't know if it's a summer movie because it comes out during the summer. Like it's that interesting contradiction, y'all. Interesting
Hey,
contradiction.
The Happening is a spring movie.
It is. It is.
the breeze blowing into the little but in
The
it's,
happening being the
the
pollen,
field.
yeah, it is. You know what? Even though it's on even though it's on both of our top lists of being the most one of the most horrible horror movies,
That was pretty
yes,
bad.
the happening is a horror movie in the spring. I'm not gonna say it's a good one, but it's a horror movie in the springtime. I will give it that. And let's see, the last few that I have is yep, this movie that was like about that's based on a true alligator in Africa called French movie called Primeval. Have you seen it?
I'm sure I have. I love alligator movies.
Yep, but it's basically like a big budget movie. It was I don't want to say it was nice. It was nice, but it was definitely like good I guess research and going into the infamous alligator in Africa known as Gustav, because he's basically a giant alligator in Africa who's known as the number one man eater. Like he'll literally go and like eat people.
Yeah, I
Like
love that.
yeah, but interesting facts from like casual geographic. He's a YouTuber that I watch that does animal commentary and stuff. Does animal information. I think he stated that almost 80 to 90% of alligators in Africa are could be classified as man eaters. So
Oh,
there's
wow.
that. There's that. But
Wow.
Gustav, he's the big one. He's eaten the most people. So it's
I I know we gotta cover our, winter movies at the next podcast, but I say 2 podcasts away, we should cover upcoming movies, and the reason I brought that up is because I just told you I love alligator movies. Gator Creek's coming out, and if you haven't seen the previews for that, go watch it.
Gator Creek. Really?
Everyone, yes. Gator Creek. It's gonna be good. Very good.
That's good. That's good. I mean, speaking about Gator movies, I mean, Crawl was a pretty good suspense horror
Crawl was
movie.
really good. Crawl was really
And I
good.
and I guess going along those lines, I hear there's a
That was a
possible
summer movie
sequel.
too, right?
Huh?
Because that was a hurricane. That was a summer movie.
Yeah, that's a summer movie, yeah, because that was during the hurricane, yeah. But
During the
yeah
hurricane, right.
I also hear, like, they're coming out with a sequel for that one, and like I said, I don't know much about it other than the fact there's a sequel. I think I might seen a poster of it, and it looks interesting because it looks like it might be taking place, I don't know, and maybe in, like, New York or something. It's but because like, in an overflooded apartment building, but you see alligators, so it's like it it could be going about the alligators in the sewers in New York.
Yeah, okay, no doubt.
But no, I'll definitely look into Gator Creek. I'll for sure check it out. And yeah, I think we're about to. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, we're definitely like possibly over time because I know we did a little bit before, and now three. we're at the 34 mark. So I
Yep,
guess
very good.
yeah.
Good timing.
So yeah, I want to say this is a good one. Pretty much other before we dip out, the Mummy and the
Mhm.
Mummy 2, good summer.
Not the Rock one, right? Not the Rock Mummy movie?
Okay,
That was
scratch that
terrible?
one. Just the first one. The first one. The
Okay.
first one, Brandon Fraser. There you go. There you go. There you go. No, not the Scorpion King. No, not the Scorpion King.
Yeah,
But
oh,
I mean,
that's great.
yeah. But no, the first one I like. The first one for
Brendan
sure.
Fraser, sorry, Brendan Fraser, yes.
Yeah. Well,
Neither one
Brendan
of them.
Fraser. He's the bomb. He is to be treasured like
It's
Denzel
a
Washington
it's
and
a
Keanu Reeves. He needs to be treasured. He needs to be kept in good condition. And of course, the faculty, which is
faculty.
pretty much like
It's
a high school alien movie or a high school movie dealing with aliens that are similar to quote unquote body snatchers. But yeah,
right,
it's
that
but
was
yeah,
good.
but yeah, we
Not
got
quite
stuff
so
right
bad.
there because we can probably go. I'm not gonna lie, folks. With my list right here, I can probably go maybe two or three more minutes, and I think probably Edge could probably go 2 or 3 more minutes on his, depending. But we got to stop it right here. We'll do like maybe a part two of this down the road. But other than that, as usual, if you like our commentary, if you like our podcast, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Please comment. We got one comment so far. and we hope to get more, especially if this high rolls it. But other than that,
Sounds good to
I
me.
am
Get on.
yeah, I'm pretty much your host, pretty much Quan. Got Edge. Y'all have a good one. Stay spooky.
Peace out.
Deuces.
Later.